Travel and things in association with sun destinations, iconic destinations with amazing experiences present in conversation with. I'm your host, David Batsoffen, and joining me today is Professor Henry Higgins, otherwise known as Craig Urbani. Craig, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning. Thanks for chatting to me, David. Good to be here.
It's only a pleasure. I'm messing up myself here. There we go. Now I can see you proper. To to quote Liza Doolittle, talk to me about My Fair Lady. What is it about this iconic production, Craig, that still fills theaters to this very day?
think, it's based on an incredible work by George Bernard Shaw, based on Pygmalion, which is an incredible book that he wrote, and an amazing story. And much of the dialogue is sort of almost verbatim, directly from Pygmalion
Mm.
in in the musical, which makes it a script unlike any other musicals. You don't get a script as layered and as textured and as deep uh, and as rich as this in, well, no, certainly no musical that I've done. So it's an incredible story told in the most beautiful English, and in a very detailed way.
Mm.
And then it's interwoven with that is these incredible songs that Lerner and Lowe put with this incredible story, and you do have a timeless piece, and it certainly is timeless, even in a woke society like we live in now, where a lot of what Higgins says is viewed, and certainly is quite degrading towards women, and he's sexist, and he's got a very it's my way or the highway kind of attitude. But if you allow the piece to unfold and you just listen to the story and you go with it, you can shake your head in disbelief at him. But if we're doing it right, which it appears that we are, and if people allow it to wash over them, and they go with the story, you end up just seeing this very complex, very flawed um, man who's really battling because he's a cerebral creature. He doesn't work well
Mm.
with emotions. He lives in his head, and he's met with this young flower girl who he thinks he's taking on a journey of transformation, but in so doing, he is forever transformed.
Indeed.
Um, and it's just cleverly told. It's beautifully told. It's excellently written, with incredible songs. And certainly, it's a story that stands a test of time because it's that good a story. It
Yeah.
really is, and
And
brilliant.
what's glorious about it, Craig, I believe, is three things. A, you have a proper orchestra. So you have a full orchestra in a pit with a conductor. You have
Always helps.
beautiful sets, and you have a wonderful ensemble to back you up. Most of whom I take it come from Cape Town Opera because that's who's presenting this together with PTP, Pieter Toerin Productions. And it makes for a
Yeah.
wonderful evening out. It brings back those days when people dressed up to go to the theater, when you put on a suit and
Yeah,
tie, women wore,
absolutely.
proper dresses. But what is
Yes.
interesting for me is the fact that the moment that first chord is struck by the orchestra, people were already singing in the audience because
It's
everybody knows the
amazing
music.
how people know this soundtrack
Yeah,
so well. I've had so many people saying we had the LP or we had the record,
yeah.
and my parents would play it to us when we were growing up, and they know all the words, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of words. He's a very wordy man, Higgins,
He,
and they know all the words and kind of hum along and sing along. But you're right, David. The set is. It's almost filmic. It's all
it is.
encompassing. As an actor on the stage, I feel like it's all around me. Greg King designed it very, very cleverly, very, very beautifully. And it does, like, as you say, have that plush feel,
Mm.
a lush feel, a grand feel. So it gives people that sense that they're going to watch something quite spectacular and quite special at the theater,
Yeah.
making it, elevating the night out from perhaps other shows. And I mean, I
Mm.
think it's always difficult for set designers. They've always been told, do it for less money, do it for less
Yeah.
money, but make it look good, make it look good. And somehow Greg King has stumbled onto some genius here.
Yeah.
And yes, you're right. We have a lot of I would say half of our ensemble are from Cape Town Opera, but half is all you need to add that extra weight and that extra texture
Yeah.
and quality. Their voices are so big and so beautiful, and it just take and raises the bar just
Mm.
30-40%. So in all the ensemble numbers, you've got these booming voices. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
What is it like for you as an actor, Craig, to take on a role like this? Because you're never off stage, eh? And as you pointed out a moment ago, Higgins is a wordy person. He wants to talk all the time. Was it easy
Certainly,
for
yeah.
you to learn the role? And is it easy to remember? Or do you sort of get to a point of an evening and you go, let me just put my own words in here if I can't remember what to say? I'll ad lib in
No,
a Higgins type of
well, I wouldn't
fashion.
be able to. I can't ad lib in Edwardian English, so I don't know. I think I would battle there. But I was actually, oddly enough, standing backstage last night. We were about to revolve around into the
Mm.
study, and I always have these images of when we were at this particular point in the rehearsal room. The stark lighting of the rehearsal room, and everyone's
Mm.
in their rehearsal gear, and how. And I actually thought to myself, almost, I almost don't remember sitting and learning it. I just remember doing, and in doing, it started to come to me.
Mm.
We were putting it on its feet quite early. We weren't sitting reading a lot. We were saying the dialogue. We were holding our books, but we were speaking the dialogue. We were moving. We were blocking, and it just the layers just started to go one on top of the other until eventually I kind of had it. And touch wood, I haven't had difficulties with words and stuff like that. The old brain is still working; it's all in there. But I enjoy it so much. It's like pulling off a big, massive piece of meat every night and starting to chew on the one end and work your way through a very tasty. Um, and if you're very hungry, and you just chew and chew and chew, and it's that sort of gratifying. It's uh, it's it's meaty and it's textured and it's emotional and there's lots of it, and you want to do it justice. You don't want to
Mm.
skim over anything because there's so much and yet nothing is superfluous. It
Yeah.
all links up beautifully. George Bernard Shaw in Pygmalion and in My Fair Lady, they set something up quite early in one of the early scenes in Act One, and the payoff comes later in
Mm.
in Act Two. So you want to everything its weight because it has a link, it has a through connection, and
Yeah.
the payoff comes later. Nothing is extraneous or superfluous. I mean, we were concerned about the length of the piece. It's a longish piece, and so we were trying to look at Stephen Stead, our director, was thinking, well, what can you cut? And it's so difficult
Nothing. Yeah.
because everything is so good. Everything is so worthy of keeping.
Well,
So
you
we
could you
we
could
managed
cut
to
out, yeah, you could cut out one of the
yeah.
scenes of Graham sitting and reading a newspaper yet again. Graham Hopkins, who's playing your sort of alter ego.
So wonderful. He's the most wonderful Pickering. And I'll tell you something that helped me a lot. It's just having his presence there during the rehearsal process. As you say,
Mm.
sitting with his newspaper. He's on stage with me so much of the time, saying very little. He has a
Yeah.
sort of interjection here and there. But it was a wonderful energy and presence, and just his stature and
Mm.
his experience. Graham doesn't have to do anything.
No.
Graham also helped us with the accent because that's how Graham talks. He is like an old gentleman. And I remember the one scene when I came out in rehearsal and said, Pickering, Pickering. Eliza's bolted. And he went, bolted. And I went, oh, that's how you say it. Bolted, not bolted, bolted. And there were so many examples of that because and he played this part years back.
He did
He played
indeed,
Higgins.
as did,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, one of the Ditchfield crowd, Jocelyn Broderick played Eliza, if I remember correctly.
Yes, may well
Yeah.
have been. And so Graham was a wonderful energy and presence to have there, and it's quite a nice sort of triangle of men, myself, and then the humble, lovely, kind gentleman, Pickering played by Graham Hopkins, and then you've got the crazy energy of Mark Richardson as Doolittle, Eliza's father, and it's a love. I love that scene with the three of us.
Yeah.
Bantering with each other. It's one of my favorite moments every show.
When I chatted to you just before we did this interview or this chat, I was saying how Mark got through, get me to the church on time without somebody rushing on with an oxygen tank to help him out of
Yeah,
the air. But
yeah,
he almost got a standing ovation for that. I mean, that is a beautiful piece of staging. And he just
yeah.
seems to,
That's
in fact, not only him, and I said this to you after we saw the production a few weeks ago, you guys are having far too much fun up there. You really and truly are. And I know you do two shows on a Saturday, maybe even two on a Sunday, maybe even two on a Saturday, yet you hurl yourself into this as if it's just a 20-minute, let bonsai production. We'll sing one number, people
yeah.
will recognize it, we'll all go home.
I get the sense from the cast, from the top to the bottom, um, from the principals to the ensemble, that everyone's aware that there's a sense of we're very grateful, we're privileged, we're blessed because we have this incredible piece and it's been put together and it's come together beautifully and people have come. And
Yeah.
there's a sense even 60, 70 odd shows in, and as you say, two on a Saturday, two on a Sunday, there's a sense of um, appreciation and respect. That's it.
Mm.
It's respect for this piece, and nobody is dialing it in or kind of giving a sort of subpar performance because I think everybody just relishes it and enjoys it and respects it and appreciates it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than walking out and having audiences, full houses and packed audiences of people and it's not cheap. I mean, people sacrifice to come and
Yeah.
watch something. And when you're lucky enough as a performer to be aware of the fact that you're doing something special and it's come together beautifully, sometimes it just works. The dynamic just
Yeah.
works. As you say, the sound design, the orchestra, the crew, the backstage have been fantastic because it's quite a busy show.
Mm.
The set design, Greg has stumbled onto some brilliance there. Stephen Stead directed it fantastically. It was well cast. We've got two Elizas, which kind of helps to keep them a little bit fresher because they do 4/4.
I was
And
about to
so we
say
all
because we saw let me just have a quick squiz here. Brittany Smith the night
you saw Brittany. Yeah.
we saw Brittany. And as I said to you, the magic of theater, I've been involved in theater since 1966. I played one of the children of Banquo in that Scottish play. My sister and I,
Yes.
we walked on one side of the stage, we walked off, got into my dad's car and went home. And that was the beginning of our love affair with theater.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing has changed. Yet, when Liza starts speaking properly,
Yes.
I turned and I said to my wife, she spit. And then I realized that I'd been caught up in the magic of what theater actually is. Of
Yes.
course, she speaks proper English. Yet it was just that
Yes.
split second going from the ow to the
Yes.
proper.
Yeah.
And
From
you
all the
go,
pop maybe.
hang on a
Yeah.
second. How did she do? Oh, she's an actress. But it was the
We can
beauty of that
feel. We
moment
can. Yeah.
that
I
caught
can
me.
feel the audience.
Yeah.
I
And
can feel the audience when she.
is it like that for the audience as well, Craig, for the general public who are not theater people, perhaps?
I really think it is. Like I said to you, if an audience member allows this to happen in front of them and they go with it, something beautifully emotional will
Mm.
happen for them, because it's that kind of piece. You're going to have lots of feelings and lots of emotions and lots of thoughts, and it's so well constructed that by the time after Higgins has been barking at her to say your vowels properly, speak properly, when he finally, and Stephen directed it, that just before he the rain is Spain, just before that moment, he says to
Mm.
her, think what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the majesty and grandeur of the English language, the greatest possession we have. And he brings it right down to Eliza. He's saying, think of the musical mixtures of sounds and the images, and he paints this picture, and you kind of see her hear him, and really it's the first time he shows any kindness or compassion to her. He
Mm.
says, look, I know what I'm asking of you here is a lot, but you can do it. And he walks away, and she does it.
Mm.
And I can feel the audience, and often we get applause on that moment as well, which never happened in Cape Town. Incidentally, they used to love it. There was a deathly silence, like everybody was willing it. Yeah. In Joburg, they kind of go, yes, well done, Eliza. We have to pause for applause there. And then Higgins says, what was that? Say that again.
Yeah,
I think she's got it. I think she's got it. And we
yeah.
go into the number. It's a
By George,
beautiful,
she's
beautiful
got it.
moment.
Yeah.
By George, she's got it. Yeah.
Is there a big difference in Cape Town audiences to Johannesburg audiences with a production like this?
They are different. You sort of get laughs in different places, and I almost felt like the Cape Town audiences might have been a little more au fait with the piece,
Hmm.
might have been a little more. I feel like we might have some newbies here. People who like coming to theatre and have come to see My Fair Lady, and perhaps don't know it as well as many did in Cape Town,
Hmm.
but they've opened their minds and their hearts to it, and they've walked away just absolutely loving it. But Joburg audiences, yeah, I think they laugh more. They're a little more kind of demonstrative about their laughter. Um, yeah, they are
Okay.
certainly differences, and it takes a few shows just to kind of get into the different
Get locked
rhythm
in, yeah.
and the different feel.
Because
Also a
what,
very, very
yeah.
different venue. The theaters are
Okay.
very different.
Yeah, they are indeed. They're totally different spaces. What I found interesting is after you guys did your curtain calls and you left, the orchestra still plays on for quite a few minutes. But everybody
Yes.
in sort of a large portion of the audience ended up standing around the orchestra pit, taking pictures of the orchestra
They
and
enjoy
just
it.
standing and clapping
Wonderful.
along or singing and just being part of the event. They did it before the play started as well. They were busy popping in
Yes.
and taking pictures of the conductor and all of those sort of things.
Well,
And I
you
think,
know, they get the biggest cheer every night.
yeah,
We come out and take our bows, and when we put our arms out like this to that orchestra, they get the biggest roar of the evening, and it always kind of makes me feel very happy because and it's a long show, and there's a lot
yeah,
of dialogue, so they got to sit focused,
yeah.
and stay with it for quite a long time, and that's not easily done. And
And twice on
our
a
musical
Saturday and
director,
twice
Kevin
on a
Kraak,
Sunday.
yeah, twice on a Saturday, twice on a Sunday. And our musical director and conductor, Kevin Kraak, sits looking at us and giving us faces of encouragement. And then you see him get up and get ready, and he picks up his little white stick, and off they go. It's fantastic. It's almost like a movie sometimes. When I listen
Yeah.
to the music, sometimes it just feels like a film. It just captures the mood and the feeling, and it's grand and it's lush, like all those things that we spoke about earlier. Elevates the whole experience
Yeah.
just to have brilliant musicians
Proper
playing
work.
it so beautifully.
Yeah. But what is it, Craig? Because this is not your first rodeo in a musical. You were Buddy in the Buddy Holly show, and you've done other musicals, but there is a moment in a musical where the audience are chatting and they're eating their popcorn or candy floss because there's no popcorn or whatever it is, drinking their drinks. And then that very first note that the orchestra plays, I've gone ice cold and I've done many music,
Mm.
I've been involved in many musicals,
Yes.
but it's that
Yes.
first note that sets the
Mm.
tone for the rest of the evening. Whatever you came into the theater
Yeah.
with in your mind, be it the fact that you couldn't find parking or whatever it was, that first note changes everything. And all of a sudden, you're in the moment, you're in the production, and you're there to be entertained.
Yeah. And I mean, I've done shows where we live on stage playing music. I've done shows like Chicago where you've got a smaller brass orchestra on stage with you. Also wonderful, powerful. But there's something about an orchestra sound coming out of the pit. Where and when the sound designers get the sound right, which they have on this,
Yeah.
it's Mark Malherbe did it. It's just beautiful, and it transports you to another time, another place, another emotion, another feeling. It takes you out of, and you escape from your life and you go into this world, and that's what's so beautiful and powerful about a musical and about the orchestration that comes out of the pit. It's just it just
Let me
takes you
flip
there.
that question then.
The magic happens.
Yeah, what is it like for you guys standing behind the scrim, waiting to sing the first note? Do you get the same feeling every night going, yes, or here we got to go again, type of thing? Although from the production,
Look,
the show that I saw, I don't believe the latter. I believe that every night when you guys step on stage, you go, yes, please. And you've alluded to that earlier.
yeah, I love watching them because I stand behind the one pillar and they all sort of on stage, and while the overture is playing, people are dancing and smiling and having private jokes and chatting and all in costume and all, but there's an energy and there's a vibe and there's like I say, even this far into our run, a sense of here we go again. Let's make this one as special as the last one. There's nobody standing there going, oh, okay, let's get cracking on with this now. I want to go and watch something on Netflix or something. There's a sense of respect for what we're about to do, and there's a sense of fun. You don't know what kind of dynamic you're going to get when you cast a show. I think when directors and casting directors and producers cast shows, it can be a little hit and miss because everyone, of course, puts on their best
Yeah.
face for the audition. And so you think you're getting a wonderful bunch of people, and sometimes you get them together, and after a month, things are not as wonderful. And I'm so honored and appreciate. I'm so grateful to say that we just have the most beautiful mix of people.
Yeah.
They all care. They all love it. They all do it. They're all talented, and they give a damn, and it comes across.
Yeah. Craig, if I'd met you when you finished school, did you know what you wanted to do? Or did your life path follow sort of more twists and turns than the Swartberg path before you got to this place in your career and in your life?
I knew at 9 years old that I wanted to perform.
Mm.
I wasn't sure how, if I was going to be. I mean, for me, when I was younger, I was going to be Harrison Ford or Kevin Costner. Those were my guys. And when it and I didn't grow up on these classical musicals. Much to Pieter Toerin's horror when he says to me, "Of course you want to play this role," and I said, "I don't really know it that well," and he just went, like, he couldn't believe it. I said, "No, no, I was watching Grease and Idolmaker,
Yeah.
and I was a little I was going to be a rocker. I played in bands and things like that as a kid, but I knew very early in my life that I wanted to be a performer, actor
Mm.
in some way, shape, or form. I wasn't sure how, but I knew.
Yeah.
And I've made a lot I've made a lot of bad choices in my life, made a lot of bad decisions. I've made some good ones, but the one I know absolutely is that I'm doing what I was destined to do this is
Great.
what sets my soul on
Yeah.
fire. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad you found this place. And you're
Yeah.
able to step on stage every night and give of your very best and have the audience see how you're enjoying being where you are, thanks
Yeah.
to them for being there.
And
Craig,
it's wonderful to not fake that. It's wonderful to
yeah,
sincerely feel that. To actually
yeah,
go, I am looking forward to doing this again, and have appreciation and gratitude for it. I mean,
yeah.
I'm very grateful for the role, for the opportunity, and I'm not putting that on or faking it. It's wonderful to actually sincerely feel that, you know.
Now, currently, My Fair Lady, which is the production that we're speaking about, is on at the Teatro at Monte Casino. Twice on a Saturday, twice on a Sunday. Do you do sort of Wednesdays through Sunday?
Yeah, but this coming, we had two today. It's Wednesday. Sometimes there's a Wednesday matinee because the matinees have really sold so well because
Okay.
it's a classic piece. So sometimes there's a Wednesday matinee, which is what this week was, and then so it's two Wednesday, Thursday one, Friday one, two on a Saturday, two on a Sunday.
How
And
long
then
is
in
the
our
run?
last week, we're there until the 2nd of March. So
Okay.
there's 2 weeks left. There's 2 weeks
Wow.
left. Well, we're halfway through the week now, and then there's another. So a week and a half, and then we're done, and then we head off to Natal, which is quite nice because Derbs doesn't get
I was
doesn't get
I
very
was
many of
about
these
to say
productions.
Durban, that's very unusual because
It's
they
wonderful.
sort of don't get to see much, and I'm truly grateful that they will get to see this production.
Yes,
I know people have when I did the review, people were saying to me, "Oh, we booked in May for tickets now." I know people have seen the show multiple times already, which
yes,
is
yes.
wonderful
People
because
have
it means
come
you
more
did
than
something
once.
right, and people want to
Yes,
go back. It's and you know the ending. There's no surprises here. There are no
yes,
spoiler alerts, none of that stuff.
yes.
She speaks proper. He sees the light, and Graham Hopkins continues to read his newspaper.
To read his newspaper.
Craig,
Exactly.
it's been
What more do you
glorious
want?
chatting to you. Thank you so very much for taking time to
Thank you,
talk to us
David.
here on In Conversation with. I wish you and the
My pleasure.
cast all the best for the rest of the run. And I hope it goes from strength to strength. And I hope that Natal is not the final stop on this particular journey for My Fair Lady.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope there's further life in the in this wonderful beast. We shall see. Thanks for supporting us and for your kind words and support of the show. I appreciate it.
It's only a pleasure. My name's David Batsoff, and he's Craig Urbani, and you can see him and the rest of the cast in My Fair Lady, which is currently on here at the Teatro at Monte Casino. Join me next time when we'll chat to, I don't know, somebody else, somebody different from somewhere else about something else. But for now, cheers.